Okay. Hi everybody, welcome back to my channel. It is your girl King Dini, obviously back with another video. You know the vibes, you know what it is. Is it me or is there less of an echo? Well, darlings, I don't know which angle it would be showing. Would it be over this shoulder? But maybe you see a snippet. I was totally sofa, guys. Ah, my goodness. I am so bloody happy. Like, my mood is up here. You know, wholesome vibes. Oh, I forgot to say, back with some wholesome vibes. Yes, we're back with wholesome vibes. Today's vibrations are super high. I'm super excited, which is kind of weird because of today's topic. But nonetheless, expect an apartment tour very soon, guys. I've been saying, but you know what, slowly we're getting there. Okay, other than that, let's get into the video actually now. Okay, so what are we talking about today? We're going to be talking about adulting being a scam. So like, I feel like I'm the best person to cover this topic right now because I'm deep within adulting. Okay, whoa. See, today we're drinking water, no alcohol, because I needed to be sober-minded to just deal with this topic. Okay, fine. So basically, yeah, when you're in high school, you know, teachers always tell you don't rush finishing, you know, don't rush. The real world is really hard and it's extremely difficult and you're gonna miss high school. And I was like, when I was there, because number one, I didn't really particularly like my high school. I really didn't want to be there, but I was there nonetheless, got my certificate, kulungile phela, bye. Okay, so number one, I didn't really like my high school, so I always had that mentality, when I leave here, ngiyahamba. I'm never gonna look back, I'm never gonna miss this place. Did I not lie? Okay, cool. So obviously I didn't know that I would be where I'm at today. No one really knows, you know. I really thought that, okay, I was gonna go to AFDA, go do my 3-year degree, 2022 graduate, get into the industry, and just, you know, that's literally the plan that I had when I was like grade 11, grade 12. Cool shots. Obviously the things that happened last year happened. I went to AFDA for 3 months, and then I was fortunate enough later on in the year, October, that's when I got like my first job as an intern. And obviously lockdown, I don't know if you guys know that, but if you didn't know, now you know. Okay, cool. So that's when I was first introduced into the working world, but it was a short period of time. It was for 3 weeks. So okay, cool. So I was an intern. I didn't necessarily have to worry about things like taxes and whatever. And fortunately enough for me, I applied for my tax number in 2016, 2017 because of modeling. And my agency required me to have a tax number when I would get booked and stuff like that. Okay, cool. So fortunately, it's not something I had to stress about when I started working. Okay, so that 3 weeks, that was my first official job, whatever. It wasn't really stressful. I was very grateful because I went into it as an internship, so I didn't think I was gonna get paid. And when I started getting paid, I was like, I was super excited, like no one prepared me for that. Fast forward obviously to this year when I got my first, I don't want to say proper job because the job I got last year was proper, but when I got my first like permanent-ish gig. Okay, so obviously I worked for the company that I was working with for, I don't know, a few months, and I was an assistant there amongst other things, but mainly I was an assistant. Cool. So obviously now I came into the situation, okay, fine, now I'm employed. I need to live closer to the office. That was a thing for me. I had to move closer to the office. I need to now be mindful of how much I'm contributing towards my rent and then how much I need to spend on electricity, groceries, and that stuff. And that's not stuff I really planned for or ever thought about, because last year when I lived by myself in CBD, my mom sent me money. That was just because it was varsity life, right? So every month my mom would send me money for rent, she would send me money for food. And it was just that life. It was literally, if I ran out of money, I would text my mom and be like, oh yeah, I know I need money for this and this and this. Oh, I don't have this and this, you know, understand? And she would send it because I don't have an income. But it's completely different when you're now having a salary. And obviously, guys, I'm not even gonna lie to you, maybe some people are extremely lucky too when they first get into the working world, they have really good salaries. And it's not because I moved to where I live, because my mom still helps me out with my rent, thank God for my mother. So my mom still helps me out with my rent. I also contribute towards my bills and that sort of stuff. So it's not like she's taking care of me completely. She's still taking care of me, but I have responsibilities as well now. And when, like in my first month when I moved to the north, you know, in my head I had budgeted, okay, this is how much I'm spending towards rent and electricity and then groceries and then transport, because for me I moved closer to the office, meaning transport was a little bit cheaper. Okay, cool, fine. And then, you know, the salary comes at the end of the month, and you know, you sit with it and you do every single thing that you've planned for. So I pay towards my rent, I pay electricity bills, and I buy groceries, and then there's expenses you never really calculate. Well, I never really used to calculate, and it's like data costs, guys, and it's something it'll trap you. Anyway, I'm really off topic at the moment, but okay, let's get back to it. Okay, fine. So in my first month of living in the north, you know, the money was gone, and I was like, I still had money for transport, which is something I had budgeted and I put away, but I was like, I really thought that as a working woman, as a working girl in the adulting industry, there will be a little bit of money at least for leisure. Do you understand? And there was none of that. And it's not because, honestly, I don't know, maybe it's lack of planning, or I just didn't know how to plan. And I think that's something no one really can teach you, but they can at least guide you on it. And that's what I was trying to get at, is, you know, no one really prepares you for adulting. No one really prepares you and says to you, okay, so when you start working, gal, it goes like this. You're gonna have bills to pay. You're going to have to learn how to budget. You're gonna have to learn how to save. You have to learn how to be extremely disciplined. You need to discipline yourself enough to be like, la 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 la, I know McDonald's looks good today, kodwa you need to be that type of person towards yourself. And really, it's nice times in the first few months, because you're like, no, and then it's like halfway through the month and I don't have my data, okay, because I don't have Wi-Fi. I don't have my data, or like you're sitting there literally waiting for your next pay, because now you start living hand to mouth, and it doesn't need to be that way. And basically what I'm trying to say is why adulting is a scam, because, you know, when you're in high school, I'm not gonna lie, you don't really think about your life like, oh, I'm gonna have to, when I finish and I start working, I'm gonna have to budget and that sort of stuff. Really, a lot of people are like, okay, when I finish, I want to graduate, I want to get a job, I want to move out of my parents' home. That's a very prominent thing amongst a lot of people, is I want to move out. And it sounds nice, of course, guys, it sounds absolutely amazing. Oh, I want to move out, I want to live on my own. But the responsibility that comes with living by yourself, yes, like, guys, things like groceries, not cheap. Because unless you become a vegetarian, but even that, because you're gonna have to buy fresh foods every week, it's quite expensive. But things like meat, it chows a lot of the budget. And I'm a person, I'm not under any circumstances, I'm not going to stinge myself food. You understand what I mean? For what? For the sake of a budget. I'm not gonna be like, oh, but then I can just deal with just chicken breasts this month. No, I want a variety. The same way we have at home, I want a variety. So I will buy pork, I will buy beef, I will buy chicken, and I'll buy seafood as well. Because when I cook, I want there to be a variety. I don't want to have the same thing and feel like I live in varsity, or I'm living the varsity life. Do you understand? But what I'm trying to say is, no one prepares you for what adulting really is. And I think there's no way they really can, because it's something you're going to experience for yourself. And it's scary when you get to it, because now I'm here thinking about, geez, man, I'm living like a 30-year-old. That's how I feel. Not that I'm actually, but that's how I feel. I feel like, geez, I'm living like a 30-year-old, and I'm 19. I will be 20 in how many months? It's August. In 3 months, I'll be 20, and I feel like I'm living like a 30-year-old. And things like tax, people tell you that you're gonna have to pay tax and stuff like that, but no one really explains it to you. and luckily there's the whole pay as you earn thing. But then when it comes to things like, you know, your tax e-filing and that sort of stuff, I haven't gotten there yet because I just started working. But when it comes to that, how do I even go about it? You know, that stuff stresses me out. Like, I don't want to go to SARS and they say, okay, you owe us money, and I'm just there like, how? I thought it was being paid for. It wasn't. Or, you know, I'm not saying that's not what I'm not saying that's what's gonna happen. It's just like, it's stuff like that. And the other day I felt like, you know what, let me check my credit score, because clearly it's something that is encouraged as well, and I hate it. I bloody hate the thought of having to owe money, like things like having to take out loans and pay car installments or whatever. I really, I know that the fact of the reality of the situation is that's what's gonna happen. I'm probably gonna have to, like, you know, take out loans if I want to own things like cars and houses, unless I can pay for it cash. By the grace of God, I bloody receive money so that I can pay for things cash, so I don't have to do the whole credit thing, because credit ultimately feels like they're encouraging debt, and a lot of people don't recover from stuff like that, guys. People taking out things like lay-by, credit cards, and I feel like if I don't have the money for it, I just can't afford it. That's how I personally feel, and maybe it's gonna mean that I don't have a lot of things for a long time, but I cannot for the life of me have the thought of having to take out credit. And so my credit score is gonna sit on 0 and say stable, because that's what it says at the moment, and I'm not tripping about it. And I know at some point it's gonna hit me. It's gonna be like, listen, you're gonna need to start doing things like taking out loans or whatever, and it's something I really want to run away from. And I was never prepared for this life, guys. I was never prepared, and I can't even lie to you and say I can try to give you advice. The best advice I can give you is don't rush adulting. Enjoy the fact that, you know, you're completely dependent on your parents. Enjoy the fact that you have to ask them for things, and when you ask them for things, they can do things for you, because when it gets to a stage where you're gonna have to do things for yourself, good tricky.